Lucas Moura. He thrust himself in like he meant it. And Son Heung-min, and that is a beautifully executed Tottenham move. It's Cavani. Manchester United have the lead. They've turned another one round at the end of some gorgeous rat-a-tat football. Crossbar watches it over the line, and Manchester City have their lead. And this is dangerous now. It's Riyad Mahrez. Oh, that's a smashing finish. Crazy, chaotic, but hugely meaningful. But ice cold. Back in towards Diop.
This is the Talking League.
Hey, what's up you guys? It's Shane Campbell here from the Talking League. This video is just in response of what happened last night. Obviously, if you're not aware, last night during the Euros, Denmark-Finland game, Christian Eriksen collapsed during the game and was suspected cardiac arrest. I'm sure if you saw some of the images and videos that were being released, it was an extremely traumatic thing for people to witness. I can only imagine how scared the players, medical staff, the fans and family and friends were feeling during this time. I just thought I'd like to come out and speak a little bit about it and make a suggestion going forward to all football clubs. Now, what was really amazing to see was the love and unity of the team, forming a human chain circle around him for protection from the media and cameras, so that obviously the short images that were coming through wouldn't be broadcast to the world. And unfortunately, a lot of the media publications were releasing video and images of that, as well as his distraught wife on the field. Those scenes are terrible to see, and obviously as humans we are nosy and we want to see things, and but you know, when you look at it in the bigger picture, it was really sad. But my main focus today is about awareness and first aid awareness and how it could possibly save a life. Those of you that are aware and know the importance of it will know that what those medical teams were doing yesterday, performing CPR, definitely saved Christian Eriksen's life without a shadow of a doubt. And you know, when I saw them performing CPR, I unfortunately started feeling the worst. I have personal experience with something like that. A couple of years back, while working for my previous company, we were at a company function on a Friday afternoon. Everyone was jovial, it was lovely, awesome vibe, and then one of our staff members collapsed. At that time, I hadn't had first aid training and really didn't see an absolute necessity for myself to have it, because I'm sure someone else would do it or would have it. And once this member collapsed, same thing, guys in our company that were trained jumped straight in and started performing CPR. And unfortunately, our colleague passed away, and it was extremely devastating to see and to be in that environment and understand the severity of it. But one thing I took from that is I had this absolute urge to become trained in first aid and to find out more and see how I could possibly help if that situation ever arose and I was in that area. So that's exactly what I did. I was lucky enough that our company offered health and safety training, which was your basic first aid, as well as basic firefighting training, which I completed and still hold those certification till this day. Guys, it's so important. And I'm not saying just because you have first aid you're going to save everyone. The chances are actually very slim. But it's rather important that you have knowledge and the basic training to know what to do. I'm just going to be talking from my own experiences in football, amateur football, that I'd say in the last, 10 years of playing amateur football, that I've come across about maybe 6 or 7 scenarios where players have been knocked out during a game. And just as something as simple as getting the player into recovery position is so important for their health and safety. And not many people know that, or know how to put them into a recovery position. We actually had one severe case where a player was completely in and out of conscious, and we had to wait for the ambulance to arrive, but all we could do was just put him in the recovery position. And luckily myself and one of the players from the other team had basic first aid, and we were able to get him into recovery position and just try and alleviate some of the pressure and stress from the situation, as everyone is under immense stress. So what I'm asking and appealing today is that SAFA, as well as all the local football associations, make it mandatory that all referees, at the minimum, referees have basic first aid training. Ideally, I think it would be great that at least maybe 5 members within a football club, and I'm talking about 5 members of staff that are currently working at the club, have that same training, so that if something happens on the grounds, they are able to assist until paramedics arrive. Those couple of minutes that you possibly are doing CPR are so vitally important to the patient's recovery and chances of survival. And I think if we are just trained a little bit better, or have some sort of knowledge behind us, that training can go a long way in possibly saving a player or a fan or a spectator's life. And it's something that we absolutely have to look into. This is not a dig at referees, because I know some people might say, well, aren't the referees trained already in that? And my experience, like I said, in the 6 or 7 times where players have been knocked out, the referees aren't, and not all the players are, and that's completely fine. I understand that, but I do believe that referees should be the go-to guys in that scenario, just because they are going to be at every game that they are reffing, at least knowing that the man in charge of the game also has some sort of first aid training, so that he can stabilize the situation and stabilize the player, and not necessarily the player. It could be anyone that is at the football grounds at that time. I just think in general, companies across the world, they have the Health and Safety Act that they have to follow, which means that they must have health and safety reps appointed who are trained within first aid. But at the football grounds, I mean, we go there to have fun and just play a game of football, and the least worrying thing that you're worried about is someone getting knocked out, possibly having cardiac arrest. So I'd like to say that we'd rather be prepared than not be prepared and just absolutely in the dark. It's a terrible thing. So, and I understand that not everyone has that in them, and that's fine. I was that person. Like I say, I was that person. I never saw the necessity for it until, unfortunately, that happened with a colleague of ours, and that just kicked me into drive mode, and I needed to do it, and I felt my job was to help. So this is my appeal. I'm asking all my friends and family that are involved in the football community, or even those that are not involved in the football community, whether you're a coach, you're a player, you're a scout or an agent, please, let's start asking the questions. Let's start seeing if we can get some sort of plan in action here that SAFA could then bleed down into the local football associations, making it mandatory that all referees and possibly even coaches are trained in first aid, basic first aid, so that they can handle a situation should it arise, and just give that person or the patient a better chance of surviving and making it through. I also think just for everyone else that's around there, if they see that someone's taking control, it would calm the situation down a little bit and just alleviate some pressure for everyone that is watching there. So yeah, I think that's where we need to start. I know that money is going to be brought up, but if we're going to weigh up the cost of life versus the cost of a basic first aid course, then there's no hope for us. We need to make a difference. We need to put pressure on the authorities or or the associations to now act. We can't sit back and hopefully hope that something doesn't happen. The chances are it is going to happen. And whether we are at football or at the shopping mall or at a bar, these things can happen. And at least if we are all trained, we can use that training to save someone's life. So please, let's share this video. Let's share awareness. Let's start asking the questions. If you have any contacts that might be willing to assist in terms of sponsorship or offering these training courses, or possibly just speaking to the right people that could start actioning this plan, please contact me. My number is 076 403 6527. Alternatively, you could contact me on Facebook or drop a comment below in this video or on the podcast. And yeah, let's just get the ball rolling, guys. Last night was an absolute eye-opener. It's the second time that I've witnessed it on TV. The first one was with Fabrice Mwamba. That was terrible. And by God's grace, he survived. And Christian Eriksen survived last night by also God's grace. So please, let's use this. Let's take these gentle warnings we've received and let's start putting plans into action. I beg of you, I ask of you, let's share it. Let's get the right people involved. And that's all I could ask from you today. Thank you very much for watching and listening. If you have any suggestions in terms of, like I said, with this first aid training or anything like that, please contact us. And thoughts and prayers go out to Christian Eriksen and his family while they are dealing with his recovery at the moment. And thank you, and stay safe and take care, guys.